It's not that often in my life that I can look at a game and say, this game is what got me into a particular genre. It's, I really can't say that about any game I've played. Except this one. Until Dawn for the PlayStation 4. This game got me into the narrative games. It got me into the games where your choices matter. It's less about the gameplay and more about your choices. And there is obviously gameplay, but I really fell in love with this game when it came out, and it remains to this day one of my favorite games of all time. Well, I'm very happy that this game is actually getting a remaster. Now, I was actually going to do a reaction to the announcement, but I saw a lot of people say online that, it didn't look very different from the PS4 game, it didn't look that different. And, I did watch the trailer, and I agreed. It didn't stand out to me. I thought, okay, it's going to be a simple port, whatever. But after doing some reading, after, looking on, online about news for this game, it's not a simple cut and paste, up-res port or, scaled up port for modern consoles. They're actually doing quite a bit for this game, and I'm very, very excited for it. Some things maybe not as much, but we'll get into that in today's video. So I'm going to talk about 5 things about Until Dawn that maybe you guys missed from the trailer or from any of the information afterwards. Now, I hope you guys enjoy this video. This is very different from my channel. Usually I talk about Nintendo and kid-friendly stuff, but this is a mature-rated game, so I really hope you guys like it. My community feed seemed to be kind of mixed on it, so hopefully you guys enjoy this video and like for more content. I really want to please the YouTube algorithm gods, and without any further ado, let's get on into it. The first point about this game, is kind of the obvious one. People are kind of like, well, is it like a port, or is it like, what is it? It's a remaster being done in an upgraded engine. This is being done in Unreal Engine 5, so the most, modern, newest, version of Unreal Engine. And it's gonna be a remaster. A lot of assets are reworked. Apparently the color palette of the game is going to be different. It's going to stylistically be a little bit different, which always kind of concerns me when you take it away from the original vision, from the what made it great, So that does slightly concern me, but I'm not that worried about it so long as they do a good job with it. Now, obviously, this point is kind of obvious, at least the fact that it's a remaster. It's not a remake, so don't think it's a ground-up remake, but they did go into things, and they're changing a lot, they're adding a lot, which, again, I'll go into later in the video, but just want to state, remaster from the ground up in Unreal Engine 5 with lots of tweaks and additions, which we'll get into right now. This next point is something that was said in the trailer, but honestly, you might have kind of missed it or didn't really realize it. This game is being developed by Ballistic Moon, which, I'll be honest, I've never heard of this studio before. Never in my life. And Supermassive Games apparently have no involvement. Their logo isn't anywhere. It's nowhere to be seen. So my guess is that Sony, PlayStation Studios, handed this to Ballistic Studios and said, remake or remaster it, and get it going on modern platforms, being PS5 and PC. Now, honestly, given the fact of some of the later things, which we'll touch on a little bit, I don't know how it's working. I don't know how they're doing it without any collaboration from Supermassive Games. Maybe they're lending all of the assets, and Supermassive Games just gave Ballistic Moon everything and said, here you go, make Until Dawn remastered. But I do find it interesting that the original studio has no part of the development of this game, which I guess makes sense because they're working on 2 major titles that we know of so far. They're working on Directive 8020, and they're also making the casting of Frank Stone. So they've already got their hands full, their plates stacked up high, and it makes sense that this title wouldn't be under them, especially if it's just a remaster. Anyone can do a remaster. Nintendo has handed their games out to other studios to remaster, so it makes sense. So, yeah, it's not being done by Supermassive Games, and we'll see how that goes. Alright, so the first new real change, the thing they're doing to make this game different than the original, and this is one of the things I'm kind of mixed on, is they are completely redoing the soundtrack with a different composer. It's not a remastering or a remaking even of the soundtrack. It seems to be a completely different composer and everything doing the music. I don't know too much why. From what I heard, it has to do something with Sony being particular about who's doing the music for their licensed games, because you see it's being published by PlayStation Studios, or whatever the name of their studio is. So it's being published by them, so anything that comes out under that branding, something with the music needs to be done by a specific person or some specific people in the industry. Now, Jason Graves actually did the original soundtrack for, Until Dawn, and, all the subsequent titles that Supermassive Games have done. The Dark Pictures Anthology, The Quarry, etc. So, him not doing this will be so weird, because I'm so used to his music, and especially his rendition of Oh Death. I'm wondering if they're going to keep that in here, because Oh Death is just, iconic for Until Dawn. It's so iconic that it's literally had, reprises and revised versions of the song done for every single future game that they've done besides The Quarry. So I'm really interested to see where this soundtrack goes. Apparently the composer is really good and has done work on horror movie, soundtracks. So I'll have to look into this new composer some more, but I am really skeptical because I just genuinely really like the soundtrack in Until Dawn. Nothing that stands out and is super memorable besides Oh Death, but it was so eerie and so perfect and just fit. It just fit like glue and paper. So I don't know how to feel about the soundtrack just yet. We'll have to hear some of it before I can make a final call on that. Alright, this next one is kind of a big one. This one is the main reason that I'm really, really interested. There's going to be new content in this game. They said there's going to be new locations, new character interactions, and new collectibles. Now, starting off with the collectibles, I'm assuming just things you pick up in the world. Maybe we'll get some new totems, that'll link to some of the new things, new locations and new set pieces that are going to be, added to the remaster. Just small things. If there's new locations, then obviously there's going to be new collectibles in those locations. So that makes sense. Let's go on to the two more interesting ones, the locations and the character interactions. Both of these, I feel like, aren't possible if they aren't diving into cut content, because they're not getting Hayden Panettiere or Rami Malek or any of the other actors to come back to do motion capture, voice recording. Not happening. So they're using stuff that they already have. They're using things that are, they like every game studio, whenever they make a game, they always archive stuff. Hence why Mario vs. Donkey Kong, is coming out this month. Charles Martinet lines are from that original game because they kept them. So they've kept everything from Until Dawn's development, just in case they want to use it later. So, there's probably lots of different things that were cut from this game. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not overly familiar with the cut content from Until Dawn. I don't know what they could add, but I do have some things that I want them to add. At least some things to make it feel, just to improve things I didn't love about the original. Starting off with some of the character interactions, or just the characters in general, there's certain characters I do want to see more of. 2 of them, to be exact. Particularly, Matt, I nearly forgot his name, Matt and Jessica. Matt and Jessica were the 2 characters in Until Dawn that were basically shafted. They got no real good time at all. More so Jessica than Matt, but let's dive into Matt for a second. I would like to see a chapter of Matt on his own, or at least a segment of Matt on his own, where he's exploring the mines or something when he falls into there, just another little section with him while everything else is going on, just to give him a little more screen time. But I feel like more importantly than Matt getting more content, freaking Jessica needs content. Jessica, basically, the last time we see her before the very end of the game is literally right before everything goes down. So it's literally Jessica's character misses all of the action. Now granted, it's because of the fact that she fell down the elevator shaft, it was knocked out, whatever, And I think the main reason that they, Supermassive Games made her away so long is so that we as an audience would think, is she alive, is she dead? Because last we see her, she falls down an elevator shaft. So I get why the suspense of Jessica falling down the elevator shaft would, I get why that's important and why it fits in the story. But I like Jessica. I mean, she's kind of annoying, but I want to get more time to know her and like her, because we don't really get that. All we have in the beginning is just her kind of being the ditzy princess, and then everything goes down, and then you're like, oh my god, I feel bad for this character. You don't really see her develop in any way, and I just really want more out of those two. And with interactions, I want to see more specifically of maybe Ashley and Chris, seeing them interact a little bit more, because we know they have a blossoming romance, but I would love to see a little more of them getting to know each other and flirting and, or, I mean, maybe not even flirting because they're kind of in a, not great situation, but just something to spice those two up a little bit. Maybe a little more of Josh as well. Seeing a little more of Josh would be nice. Or maybe it's something like if Mike and Emily can bump into each other. I don't know. It completely depends on what's cut. Because whatever is cut is what we're going to get, probably. So, I don't know. There's so much that I want. But obviously, it's not, like I said, it's not as simple as getting the cast back to record some new stuff for the game. It's just not going to happen. So I really hope that whatever they have stored up, they're able to make something really cool out of it. Alright, the last main point I have here is actually kind of a big game changer one, which I'm really interested to see how this plays out. And apparently, there's going to be a whole new system for controlling the camera. So it seems like it's going to go for a kind of a more, just regular generic, I shouldn't say generic, but general third-person game approach, where the camera isn't fixed. Because in Until Dawn, and most of Supermassive games, the camera is relatively fixed. There are times where you can move it, but a lot of times the game's camera is facing a particular way, so that, it's showing you everything in front of the camera. It's like a movie, right? They're not showing you behind the camera. They're just showing everything that's in front of the camera. And that's kind of what Supermassive games try to do. Here, they're trying to make it more of just like a 3D, space that you can look around, just like any other third-person game. I'm really interested to see what they do with this, because they've kind of been, Supermassive games have been leaning into this camera style a little more, particularly with, The Devil in Me. The Devil in Me, I'm pretty certain, kind of did this. I even think The Quarry did as well. So they're definitely leaning more into that style as opposed to before, because, Man of Medan had a pretty strict camera. Obviously, Until Dawn did. So I'm really interested to see how this camera pans out. Completely not intentional pun there. But yeah, I'm personally very excited for Until Dawn Remastered. It's something where I initially thought, doesn't really need a remaster, but especially bring it up to the PlayStation 5, and big one for me, it's coming to PC as well. I'm really hoping it's compatible with the Steam Deck. That'll be huge. I would love to have Until Dawn on the Steam Deck. But that actually does bring up a question that I have, and it's a question not addressed in any of the stories, but they're definitely going to replace the don't move segments, because on PC with keyboard and mouse, the don't move segments don't make much sense. And on Steam, it's compatible with the Xbox controller. So it'll be weird playing Until Dawn with an Xbox controller, but either way, the don't move segments don't make much sense. I'm really curious to see how they're going to rectify this. I kind of hope they go the approach of the Dark Pictures anthology, where the Dark Pictures anthology has those keep calm segments, where you have to keep in time with the heartbeat. Because I liked that more than what they did in The Quarry, which was just kind of holding the A button until the game kind of tells you to stop. It wasn't very tense, and, especially with the finale of Until Dawn being the don't move segment, switching it to what The Quarry did would really decrease the tension, would really sour that moment. But doing the heartbeat segments, like Until Dawn's finale, but with the Dark Pictures anthology's keep calm heartbeat segments, that would be so intense. I would literally be so clenched up. But what do you guys think? What are you guys looking forward to with Until Dawn Remastered? I'm so excited for this game. It's gonna be a blast when it comes out. Hopefully they have something at PAX East, because I'm going to PAX East next month, and I would love for them to have something I could play, or at least see while I'm there. And if they do something there, then I'll definitely get the inside scoop for you guys. So definitely like this video and share it around. I really hope that people do want this content. I hope that there is a market for people who like Until Dawn and all of that, because it's literally one of my favorite games of all time, and I've followed Supermassive Games' work ever since then, playing all the Dark Pictures games, The Quarry. I've expanded in playing games like the Telltale games. I played The Expanse, Life is Strange, all because of Until Dawn. So yeah, that's it, folks. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff down below. Hit that notification bell so you can be notified of when I upload videos. And until next time, I'll see you guys in the next one.